Welcome everyone, this is John from Southern Cross Online. Today we're going to be looking at a game called Endless Space. It's a turn-based game. It is an excellent turn-based game. Okay, so let's start a new game and we'll go through some of the basic steps of the gameplay. Okay, so we clicked on new game. Essentially the whole map is basically a galaxy. You can change how you want the galaxy to look, but it's a galaxy. In terms of map size, if it gives me an option straight away, I'll pick that biggest map. If it's got extra big, then I will pick that as the map size. I find that doing that actually gives anyone more of a chance to learn the game before, as usually happens in games, conflict occurs between player and computer AI or along those lines. So yeah. So we go there for huge, that's fine. I haven't actually tried age, that's okay. You can do more advanced features there if you want. And we did pick 4 players. Empires is where you pick the number of opponents. So we have 4 players in total, so we'll be one of the players and the other 3 will be computer AI. Sophons is the race that I've picked. Again, as testimony to the gameplay richness in Endless Space. We have a large number of races that we can play. Each of them have strengths and also some weaknesses. We'll find there is a very comprehensive and large research tree. It is quite significantly big and it does take a bit of, I guess, reading pretty much every little part of it and thinking about it in order to research effectively during gameplay. Very, very nice to play. The graphics, as we can see, are quite comfortably bright. They're not sort of blacker than black. This is our home planet. Now we'll just scroll back a little bit and move around. There's the galaxy. That's the huge galaxy and it is basically, I think it's a spiral galaxy. Now, as we mentioned, within the galaxy there is systems. Systems or star systems are basically, there's a star in the center of the system and planets orbit it. That's how they define that sort of thing. Then let's look at this. Alright, now if we want to actually look at the planet that we're on, we can, well, I'm using the mouse so we can double left click on it. Again, we have a lot of information, so just stay with me here. This one is colonized. We've currently colonized this planet. It is a Terran. I'm fairly sure, unless our faction is like some really unusual faction that cannot populate Terran initially, I think almost every faction can populate Terran. That may be incorrect, however with ours we can populate Terran without any required technology research. So we've colonized it and it's got 3 population units out of a potential 6. That number 6 can actually be increased through research as well. Basically, to describe our main stats in this game, we have food surplus, so how much food we have for our population. We have research output, therefore how much research points we can contribute towards whatever research project we're working towards. We also have industry points, which determines how quickly we can build things, such as improvements, such as new ships, those sorts of things. And then we also have dust. Dust is essentially a currency. Possibly the developers may have watched a quite famous movie and were inspired by that to make the currency on this game dust. See directly to the left, that little blue-white star. That's a star for this system, and these are the planets that circle that star. We can purchase improvements. In our system currently, we have this improvement. Gives us extra research and reduces our dust cost for building improvements. We have 33% of our industrial output converted into research. And we can also convert 33% of our industrial unit into dust. We can improve. This is one improvement that we can build right now. It'll take 1 turn, cost 1.1 units. It gives us an extra 5 industry units and an extra 5 food per colonized planet in this system, as well as 10 anti-aircraft defense in this system. If we click on the planet itself, we also have exploitation options. Remember how we looked before and it said, we'll just go back to that, how it said no exploitation. It doesn't say here no exploitation because we haven't colonized it yet. But if we have colonized the planet, these are the exploitations that we can have working on it. This one increases our food production, takes 55 industrial units, could increase their industry units. Again, it takes industry units itself, takes industry units again. So it includes research, dust, industry, or food. We'll choose a research technology. Now we have 4 trees of research. As we can see here, the top one is basically weapons and warfare. The right facing one out here is applied sciences. This bottom one is exploration and expansion. And the left one is diplomacy and trading. Now there is a lot to see within these technology trees. There is quite a lot. You look at all these and then you go right out to the outside here. It basically takes potentially 3,215 turns. Not exactly sure of that. It says it there, but how that relates, I haven't actually done that. But I have done some technologies. 27 turns, 61 turns. And yeah, they are pretty good. I guess a big question we all have is, which technologies should we focus on first? This bottom tree essentially goes through, one of its main advantages is it allows colonization of currently unable to be colonized planets. For example, this one unlocks tundra. So if we have a tundra planet, we can't currently, without this research, we can't colonize it. However, once we have researched it, yes, we can colonize that planet. Watch out on the bottom tree, be aware of these unlocks colonize technologies. There's tundra, arid. All the way down here there is lava, and that also unlocks Giga. I'll explain that as well. In this bottom technology tree, from what I understand, I've played a bit of it, not too much. I watch out for these. Unlocks colonize something, whatever it is. Arid, lava, that. There is also the type of ships that there is essentially a whole class of a ship. If you've watched a famous space movie, they'll refer to different classes of ships. One of the classes of ships is a Giga class ship. Here it is. There is a Kilo class ship. So that's before the Giga ship. So any of those sorts of technologies that increase the ship size, basically the hull size, pay attention to it and try to keep up with that research as you're going through the research trees. The reason is that the larger hull class spaceships can actually hold more weapons, it has a higher hit point value, those sorts of things. The hull size of the ship, we need to try and keep them up in terms of hull size, otherwise the computer our ships, they will increase that and they'll just smash our ships if we don't have big enough ships, to an extent. On the left side of the research tree, we basically, one of the main things that I look for, or that I found useful, is fleet management. Anything that says fleet management is really nice. When we start off in the game, we have about 5 ship points that we're allowed to have for each fleet. So if one of the smaller ships may cost 1 ship point, a larger ship, like a Giga, may take up 5, I guess fleet points might be a better way to describe it. Essentially, in case I try to speak slightly quickly and the description of the points comes out perhaps not as intended, to put it lightly. Anything that improves fleet management allows us to put more fleet points into each fleet. So when we start in the game, each fleet has 5 fleet points. A ship may take up, if it's small, 1 fleet point. However, a Giga may take up 5 fleet points. So in that fleet, we can only have 1 Giga. So increasing the number of fleet points that we have is very important. And we do need to research technology to improve that. That's on the left tree. Look out for anything that says fleet management. It'd probably be best to research up on how to increase, which technology to increase fleet size. On the top, with the warfare side of research, it's difficult to say what you'd actually should research. I think, as I said, every technology seems to have a purpose and it can affect winning or losing the game. However, as to what to purchase, it's really up to you guys. There is some that helps with defense on the ships themselves. Within the fleet, there is some that improves the weapons. There is some that improves the ground to air from the planet. Again, it's very similar to Master of Orion, or Mu, as the game is known by its fans. Now, on the right tree, the right research tree, I just trying to think, I tend to find this is more, for some reason, more of an industrial research tree. I could be wrong in that, however, I think I haven't got up that far. To me, it essentially seems like that. I did find this quite useful. By researching this, we can actually extract that resource from planets if we have colonized a planet that has that. These are quite nice. The other one is this one, which increases our industry points generated. Now that's per star system, so we don't just research it, then try to put it in once and we get every system that we own doing that. It's per star system. So we'd have to build it for each star system, but first we have to research it. I think we'll pick this one first. Then I would probably pick this one to get this increased industrial output. So let's click that one. Alright, and we're researching that. So it'll take 4 turns. How's that? Okay. So one of the hardest things I found with learning this game from a know-nothing aspect of it was how to move the ships around. What we do is we click on the system, which we have already done. This tells us, this little symbol here tells us if any are docked with this system. If it doesn't have this little symbol, then it means it's usually on its way somewhere. These are called cosmic strings, those orange lines. So we can travel to that without having to research that applied Casimir effect. Now, what I usually do is try early on in the game, try to find out which ones are likely to have most colonized planets. Easily colonized planets are less common, no? It is unlikely to have easily colonized. Again, rare colonized planets. Okay, there's a high probability of finding planets that require minimal research to colonize. Let's go there. Alright, so we left click on the system. If it's docked, then we can actually move it. If it's going somewhere, we cannot move it until it gets to the next point, such as this point. We left click on the fleet that we want. This is our procreator. Our procreator ship allows us to colonize other planets, which we need to expand. This game is of the genre 4X, and I was looking at that recently again just to refresh the term. I'm fairly sure it's explore, expand, exploit, and exterminate. So we left click on the fleet that we want. We then we right click on the star that we want to go to, or on the point that we want to go to. As I mentioned, one of the hardest bits I found was actually working out how to move the ships. That is our procreator ship going to the yellow sun. It says there, the high probability of finding planets that require minimal research to colonize. So that's why we're heading there, folks, so we can colonize other planets. This one is essentially a light warfare ship, so it has weapons on it, so it can shoot. However, they're small weapons as opposed to big weapons. So we'll keep that exploring as well. Okay. I find it actually is nice that it tells us, like it gives us some sort of indication straight away how many planets are in that system. So we've essentially done all we can for this turn. Let's end turn there. So let's end turn again. Okay, great. Now, as if we haven't already realized, this game right now, just from the initial, 2 turns, we've gone through a heap of variations in gameplay, from research trees, types of ships, how many ships we can fit in each fleet, or put in each fleet, the weapons layout of the ships, the armor layout of the ships. There's so much variety in this game, even the types of planets. Now, I do want to find one of those wormholes. Let's be adventurous and go way away from our home system and see what's out here. Okay, well it made it there in one turn. However, we still haven't found, and that one's still going there. These lines here, as we mentioned, are cosmic strings. They're essentially space paths for the ships to travel on. They don't require any technology. Okay, so we'll end turn there. Alright, I do want to see what's here though. Okay, cannot colonize, cannot colonize. We have one turn before that research turns up. What has this got? Cannot colonize, cannot colonize. Okay, we're going to send this creator, left click on the ship to this one which has a colonizable planet and right click on that. As we can see, it only travels through cosmic strings, as they're called. So it'll actually go to this one and then go to this one. This guy will send straight to there, which they're going there. Excellent. Here we have the wormhole. Now this wormhole here requires a technology to be researched because it's such a long distance, I guess. And that technology required is applied Casimir effect. Now we're going through this in great detail because I thought it was a bug with the program. It was not, it was just my lack of understanding how to play the game. This applied Casimir effect, I'm fairly sure allows going through wormholes. And this different looking cosmic string, essentially a cosmic string, but yeah, different looking pathway is a wormhole. So we won't be able to go to this planet down this star system down here until we have that technology researched. Alright, this guy's still going there. We will increase our research again. What do we want to research? I think we should research a colonizing one. There was something about arid. I seem to remember arid in things, so we'll go arid. And then we may actually do that one. Again, it's a balancing game as to whether we want to focus on exploring or focus on expanding, exploitation, or exterminate, warfare. It's a balancing act between those four main elements of this type of game. Alright, so we've done that. We've completed our research. The research is complete. Alright. Now there are, with this one, oh, that is actually nice. Even though it's cannot colonize at the moment, it has two green text planet anomalies. They're nice. If we can try to colonize it with one of them. However, again, when we're colonizing anything, firstly pay attention to this. The number of food, resource, research, industry points and dust that it provides. That will be per person. I think per person. But yeah. So anything with green is good. These ones are actually useful in trading later on, so watch out for these as well. Okay, so that's the basic elements of it. Said we looked at the research tree, making sure we balance between colonization of different environments, increasing our fleet size, increasing our hull size for our spaceships, and yeah, watching out for that applied Casimir effect, trying to research that on early in the game. Okay, so that's a brief introduction to starting it. Let's have a look at a later game. And yeah, it may look like I have a decent amount of star systems, however, I think I'm about to get kicked up and down the field with this game in particular. I think I made the mistake of amassing a large fleet, say possibly of this Giga, either in this area or one next to their system. The AI has been programmed to respond to fleet build-up. So if we move lots of ships, military ships with weapons and stuff, next to neighboring systems that are owned by someone else, then yeah, they'll respond usually with force, as you can see. There are also pirates that tend to go around. Pirates tend to make life a bit more interesting, I guess. We could do definitely without pirates. in this game. However, it is a nice element, and I am happy that they've put that in. As we can see, we have there's one of the AI players, there's another AI player. This one is a neutral. We haven't actually populated that yet. Giga. I seem to have an interest with the Giga. Ship size. Yes. Alright, I think there's one of these. Is there our own planet? Maybe it's Camos. I can't remember which was the home planet. This says colony, so it mustn't have been the home planet. Yep, colonize, and colonizable, because I've researched the technology. That's toxic. I don't want to actually do anything with that. That's toxic. I shouldn't have colonized that. However, we can overcome that. These are some of the improvements that I find interesting. Sustainable farms. It gives them more dust. Careful sweeping. It costs less to do improvements. Here it is. Manage fleets and ship design. That's what I was looking for. So we have got gear. We just click on it. And here we have what it has on it. How much it costs to produce. The military power. Military power appears to be just an overall summary of how they think, how militarily strong it is. We do have shields, beam missiles, missile, and flak. Well, I hope you enjoyed this gameplay video, and I hope you all have a great day.